Now to our roundup. The voters of South Carolina and Nevada have spoken. Donald Trump came out on top in the GOP primary in the Palmetto State. Coming in second, Marco Rubio. He edged out Senator Ted Cruz last night. After a poor showing in the state, Jeb Bush announced he has dropped out of the race. And in Nevada, Hilary Clinton walked away with a crucial victory in the Democratic caucuses. Clinton captured more than 50% of support from voters, while Bernie Sanders took a little more than 47%. It's a significant hurdle for the top candidates. Voters in South Carolina are among the most important for GOP presidential hopefuls. As for the Democrats, they're now focused on their primary next weekend in South Carolina. So what impact does all of this have heading into Super Tuesday? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also weigh in on Twitter. Just use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in our newsroom is our panel led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. Mustafa is often involved with Democratic candidates, and Jackie is often involved with the strategy for Republican candidates. Good morning again, everyone.
Good morning.
Hello. All right, so from what I understand, every candidate who has won New Hampshire and South Carolina goes on to be the nominee. And if that holds true, that would be Trump. He's won back-to-back now.
He has in those two, and the surprise in this race for me in South Carolina was not Trump. I think everybody predicted Trump was going to win South Carolina. It was Rubio coming up to barely edge Ted Cruz. And I think that's really a virtual tie. He won by 0.2%. But for Rubio to come back up and beat Ted Cruz, edge Ted Cruz out, that was really the race to watch. Rubio caught some very good key endorsements right there at the very end that brought him back up to catch Ted Cruz, and that's the race to watch, Jackie Bally. And you work for the Ted Cruz campaign, but Ted Cruz has to be concerned now with Rubio coming up on him like that.
I think the bigger concern is when you look at Donald Trump's numbers. He won with the blue-collar workers. And so as a political analyst, I would tell any candidate, you need to look at that, because
how are we going to catch him now?
A very wide range. And Donald Trump is actually, he reminds me a lot of Barack Obama in 2008. They both ran campaigns that was unconventional. Barack Obama would say, don't you want change? But no one really knew what that change is. And Donald Trump is saying, let's make America great again. I mean, in his speech, that's what he kept saying throughout the entire time. And immigration, again, has been the centerpiece of a lot of his speeches. And because so many voters are against the current administration's immigration policies, that's resonating with voters as well.
So what about that? Is Donald Trump uncatchable at this point?
Well, I think the race is now consolidated, so it's a three-person race. It's Donald Trump, it's Cruz, and it's Rubio. And as those leftover votes start to consolidate, if it's 3-3-3, it may be a brokered convention. That's where we're headed towards.
And doesn't that favor Rubio in a brokered convention?
It does, because the establishment's always going to favor Rubio. But the hard part about this stuff is that, you know, Donald Trump is unconventional, but in a three-person race, I think Rubio's got a much better shot.
What about that, Jackie? Does a broker, if it goes to a brokered convention, does that favor Rubio?
No, because even if you add Kasich's numbers and Rubio's numbers, you're not going to catch up to Donald Trump. And you have more voters in our primary, the Republican primary, and to argument in his primary as well, who are not looking at the conventional or the established candidate. The numbers for the candidate that does not have the Washington insider look is really where the numbers are going for the voters. Like the last state, you have more voters, more independents, and more people coming in the Republican primary than ever before, and that's exciting.
All right, let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Okay, let's take a look at some tweets out there. This person says Trump wins the South Carolina primary after calling George W. Bush a liar, after fighting with the Pope, after threatening to sue Ted Cruz. Welcome to the new GOP. Byline Brandon says Bush dropping out now means Marco Rubio pretty much has to make his move soon. And then as we talk, the Democrats, John Forsyth says, I'm increasingly worried that Bernie supporters won't vote for Hillary if she gets the nomination, and vice versa.
Well, I disagree with that. I mean, and Hillary, you know, had a huge lead in Nevada. Bernie closed it, and then Hillary came back and brought it back. And so Winning Nevada, I think, was a big push for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, it was a very big push for her, and I'm supporting.
And she's going to win South Carolina.
And she's going to. But the question is, by how much? She's going to win South Carolina, but if he's able to close the gap, he's had over 200 people on the ground there. She's only had 12. Some people say she's taking South Carolina for granted. So we'll see what happens. But if it is in single digits, then the race is on. But if she beats him by double digits, it's an over.
What about that?
Well, I think Bernie Sanders is, we've always said that Hillary Clinton has the infrastructure, she has the money. This is the second month in a row that he has outraised her.
Right.
So the momentum is on his side. He is a self-proclaimed socialist, and his message is resonating with the Democratic Party. And with her extended FBI investigation, a lot of people, and her trustworthy factor is at an all-time high. I mean, I'm sorry, all-time low. And so she's a flawed candidate. The fact that Bernie, she had a double-digit lead in most of these states, and he continues to close that gap,
he's
is
leading,
showing how flawed she is.
He's leading with young people, not with people who can add.
He's leading with a lot of millennials. He's leading with, in some of these states, with women. Definitely in the last state. African Americans are resoundingly voting for Hillary Clinton, but Hispanics are not.
Let me ask you about something here that a lot of people really object to in the Democratic Party is superdelegates. The Democratic Party has superdelegates, which says you can pick anybody you want regardless of what happens in the state. You can pick anybody you want. Hillary Clinton has over 400 delegates. Before anybody ever voted, she's already got 400 delegates. Is that fair?
400 out of 700 delegates. So she has got established support, and I think the Republican Party would very much want that establishment for them, because the reason why this was created in the early 70s was the party was concerned about this type of Donald Trump scenario.
But is it fair?
The DNC will never allow Bernie Sanders to be their nominee. They've continued to prove that time and time again. But however, the voters are still saying they believe in the message that a self-proclaimed socialist is saying.
Real quick.
I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's a good system.